got by shooting some data at the program, and then apparently something interesting happened. Jacob, did you see what kind of vulnerability he was looking at?
Looks like this is one of his cross-site scripting bugs from before, with a little more detail.
Jeff's got one of those pretty data flow pictures up on his screen. Come on, Jeff, plug us in. Plug us in.
You crashed my machine and I'm mad at you.
You already have it sitting next to a PC. Isn't that too much?
Oh, yeah, so you can see the data flow diagram up there on the screen that he's using, but maybe not enough, maybe not a great enough resolution to tell what's going on. There's a big bad
Toshi managed to hose the layout for his application. I don't think that's what it's supposed to look like. Is that the font increase exploit?
So here's what I'm really interested in looking at when these two guys do their presentations. I think there are a lot of people in here who maybe outsource some of their penetration testing. I want to see whether these guys come up with what looks like about 2 weeks worth of penetration testing work. I don't expect they'll have a fancy plastic folder over their material, but if they've got the basic results for 2 weeks worth of penetration testing, that might be an interesting implication on what people are paying for these days.
But there won't be any recruiting allowed during the presentation, so stay away from him.
You've got to wait till he gets off the stage. Whoa, Sean's got an epic data flow trace up here. Can we flip back to him and kill his machine again?
Go for it.
He's making way too much progress.
Using his, I'm taking my resolution back.
Yeah, you see, he's got something that looks like there's got to be a tremendous amount of code that this vulnerability is flowing through, and that's what's causing those big stripes down the screen.
The question, of course, is, will the judges like it?
I think if you find well, I mean, generally speaking, the longer that trace is, the more chances the analysis has to go wrong. But the harder it would have been for Toshi to find that same bug, because he would have had to activate exactly that path through the application. So it's kind of a risky move going with something that's got a really long trace involved.
I was distracted by the data flow trace over here. Sorry, you missed your 10-minute warning. You have an 8-minute warning now.
8 minutes, and Sean has flipped over. Hey, I don't think you wrote that tool yourself, Sean. That looked like PowerPoint. Oh, Jeff unplugged himself again. He's got his IDE up on the screen, and he's still going through more issues. You might as well keep working right down to the wire, huh?
Maybe that's compensating for not having anything to report.
Ooh. Ooh.
Show of hands, what do you guys think? Do they have an advantage by having more computers? Because it seems like pure computing power has got to be worth something. But then, of course, there is a Mac on this side, so...
I didn't see any hands, Jacob. I think they're holding back on you. These guys have kind of switched it up now, though. It looks like Toshi is back into manual testing, and oh no, they're both doing manual testing stuff.
Toshi still has his 128-point font too. How about the audience? Anybody find any bugs yet?
Do I hear two?
Nobody?
2 bugs. Yes to 2 bugs. 10 bugs. No takers on 10 yet. Okay.
We'll take well-presented but unverified.
Hey, if we run out of time here, I understand they're going to turn the lights off on us at the end of the show. But people who did find their own bugs, please do come up here because we want to make sure we give away a seat with the real food tonight at Bouchon. Hey, why are my slides up over there now? That's not very much fun to look at.
How do we do that? Toshi's trying to get out of the hot seat here. Or maybe he's shooting for that suspense just before the presentation. You don't want anyone to know what your dish finally looks like.
How many more minutes?
5 minutes and counting.
Wow, I thought Sean was into the end run, but now he's flip him back on, Jacob. He's
ready,
gone
Sean.
back into bug hunting. Either that means he's really confident about his results.
Dude, I'm in PowerPoint.
Oh, he's back in PowerPoint. Oh, look at that.
He's just
doing
getting
screen
screenshots.
captures.
Now, we had a dry run of this a week ago in our office. Different code base. These guys haven't known a thing about it, I absolutely promise. And we had a little discussion about what the presentations were going to look like at the end. Sean vehemently stated he would not be using PowerPoint. So I'm a little intrigued by his decision. Oh, he says it was disinformation. He was trying to throw us off.
Toshi's got results up on his screen, but he's checking in with Eddie. It looks like they're working on putting together the presentation.
His coverage numbers look pretty good, though.
Where's he at? Oh, it's up there on the screen. Read some of them to us, though, Jacob.
Process attack surface 100%. Missed 100%. Oh, no, I guess his numbers aren't so good. That was that. If you only hit 1%, you might want to keep testing case I was talking about before. Sorry. I read these entirely backwards. His coverage numbers actually don't look that great. He might want to go back to manually testing.
Ooh, with just a couple of minutes less, I guess it'd be kind of a Hail Mary.
Of course, today we're not going for completeness. We're going for shock and awe. 45 minutes, what's the best thing you can find?
Jeff?
Something interesting must be going on over here on the screen you guys can't see. Not for long, though. Well, that looks interesting.
What's he doing, Jacob?
He's tinkering around with his cross-site scripting exploit, but I'm not sure what he's trying to do with it.
Jeff is running down to the wire.
And they're whispering, so I can't tell.
Jeff is going down to the wire. He's just still going through results. Jacob, time
Sean's
check.
making a title page.
Dang.
3 minutes to go. Now, the question they've got to be asking themselves at this point, on this side at least, is one really good exploit worth 5 unconfirmed bugs? Which way do you go with the last few minutes? It looks like they're going the exploit route.
I think what's happening on this side is that Jeff has stayed in the IDE and is feeding details over to Sean. No, actually, they've both got the auditing tools up at the same time. So maybe they're still cruising down 2 different bugs.
That's a nasty data flow path Sean had up on the screen. Whew.
Sean had a lot of bugs to pick from, though, in his total list. The total number of findings from the source code analysis tool was, is that 35,000, Sean, or is that 3,500? 3,500 issues that the static analysis tool spit out for him to look at. 128K lines of code.
Sean might have done a little customization before he came in today. He alluded to the fact that he was planning to use some custom rules, too.
So that's actually not a bad technique in a really time-crunched environment. He might have turned on some rules that had a whole lot of noise, but that he could sort through very quickly manually.
JSP Wiki has detected an error. We spent a lot of time on that error page. It must. I hope it's interesting.
Has JSP Wiki joined you as a third member of the team, detecting errors in its own code? We ought to be just about at the end of the time, huh, Jacob?
1 minute.
1 minute before Toshi begins presenting to the judges.
Oh, Eddie got kicked off his own keyboard now. This can't be a good sign. There's some dissent amongst the ranks. "30 seconds. 15. And that's time. All right, no more bug finding. Hands off the keyboards. I don't know if it's just the lights, but they're sweating a little bit, and I expect it's going to get worse when they have to start talking to these guys.
Toshi, are you ready to present your results?
Sure.
Let's get you a microphone.
Wow. Party foul.
Uh-oh.
See, we really have tried to sabotage this presentation. Brian just poured water all over the top of the table.
Toshi's too fast for me. His computer made it out alive. All right. Well,
Have we got a mic?
Can we get you a microphone?
Sure.
Maybe you can pick that off of there? Or, well, I guess I've already disturbed all the things that are disturbed, huh?
All right. So basically, what we've done is we've been fuzzing the application wiki, and seems like we've gotten about 17 or so results. Going into details, we can actually see that these URLs with these parameters seem to have all cross-site scripting problems. I've got an internal browser in here, and over here, all the alert box pops up, so I can actually verify that these are indeed real vulnerabilities. Same with the other URLs as well. All these seem to be real cross-site scripting problems. And I can go through all of them.
Are those screenshots popping up, or are those the real thing, Toshi?
These are not exactly screenshots, but these are rendered versions of the response. So over here, you can actually see parts of the HTML being rendered over here.
So how many cross-site scripting vulnerabilities again?
13.
13.
Now, in addition to cross-site scripting problems, we found two other categories of vulnerabilities. One is directory listing problem, and you can actually see that these are directory listing problems over here. And I can go into my running application, and then, let's see, what was the URL? Templates. And I can actually see that these directories actually do exist, and I can verify these.
Is that a bug with the application or the way the server is configured?
This is the problem lies in how the web server is configured.
Okay.
All right, and there is one more category of vulnerabilities that we found, and I'm going to let Eddie talk through those.
Sure. So when we discovered the cross-site scripting, actually, I noticed that most of them were due to an error page. So even though a lot of these cross-site scriptings were reported at separate URLs, they manifest themselves because of an error page, which I'm sure you guys saw earlier. All right, let's skip that. I'll just show you the code. Here we see error.jsp. Basically, there's information leakage here, and it prints out the actual class name and line number in the code.